Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
I found this little passage, and it is oh so true. You, my friend, are no accident. There is a reason you are here. God made you. Like a first-time father, He delighted in your birth. He will guide you with His word so that you might be the fulfillment of everything He desires that you become. I like that. Good morning, everybody. Here comes Kate Smith, and God Bless America, followed by a real patriot calling in with our Pledge of Allegiance on a Thursday. Good morning, good morning. Oh, there she is, a wonderful lady. I still remember watching her on her television show years and years ago. Kate Smith and God Bless America. Good morning, I'm Zeb Bell. Zeb at the Ranch with your major sponsor for the program, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. Thank you very much. Along with some of our great advertisers, including Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Right now, let's go to the phone line and have our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, my friend, give us the pledge, if you would.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Dal. God bless you, man, and your lovely bride, and have a good day, okay?
You too.
All right, sir. Thank you. It is time for the weather on a Thursday morning, and I just stepped outside a little while ago and kind of sat around on the porch for a little bit. No kidding. It's not that bad. Kind of pleasant. Genie Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door. All your carpet and flooring, kitchen construction, home decor items, whatever you need to make your house a home. And don't forget Thrifty Thursdays. You can use all kinds of decorations for more than just one holiday. So, hey, you check it out today at Genie Flooring and Home Design. Wonderful people. Number to call, 2-678-6945. Here now, the weather.
Here's your weather forecast as we move one day closer to the weekend. Looks like it's going to be cloudy for today. Winds out of the southwest right around 14 miles an hour. Expect a high of 41, tonight low of 29. Tomorrow and for Saturday, pretty much the same. Partly to mostly sunny skies, high of 44 for Friday, high of 50 for Saturday, and then partly cloudy and 48 for Sunday. Sunset tonight is going to be at 5:19. That's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
I tell you what, Gina, thank you very much. Brought to everybody by Genie Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door. Merv May, let's sell some cattle. Come on in here.
All right, good set of steer calves here to get all the 31 moment.
That's the chant of the world's best auctioneer, I think. Burley Livestock Sale Yard, Merv May, along with Cade Rogge and Lance Udy. They're all set for a big sale this morning starting at 10 a.m. 10 a.m. at 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley. The sale that works for you. And the number to call for consignments and sale information, 678-9411. We've got 20 head of cows coming in from the Spackman Ranch over at Park Valley. Antelope Hills Dairy Dairy in Burley bringing 15 head of cows. Bob Park, hello, Bob over at Malta bringing in 25 head of calves. John Brooks up at Cary, good folks up there, 50 head of calves. Gloria Parker over at Richfield, I spent 2 weeks there one night, had a ball, and they're bringing in 35 head of calves. Gil Wright, yep, over to Ogden, Utah, 30 head of yearlings, and Oak Valley Dairy and Ward Dairy bringing in a whole bunch of butcher cows. So that's going to start at 10 a.m. this morning at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley. Merv May, Cade Rogge, and Lance Udy, the sale that works for you. And Merv, sell those steers.
All right, a good set of steer calves there. Here to get $31, 1.5, 31, 1.5, 32, 2.5, 3.5, 134, 4.5, 5.5, 5.5, 135, 50, 135, 7.35. Zeb Bell gets bottom again.
Amen to that. Hey, listen, we got to go over this real quick. We had a birthday yesterday that I missed. It was my fault, and I want to make sure that she gets a very happy birthday greeting, and that goes to Brenda Adams. Brenda has been so nice to the lunch bunch coming along with Russell Smith, and God bless her, and I hope she had a wonderful birthday. And then there's a lady that's going to celebrate her birthday tomorrow, and that's Janelle Ford. And to both of those wonderful, nice ladies, happy birthday, and God's blessings to you. I've got some other information in a minute I want to pass on to you because it's about the football game of the week, so stand by for that. Ramsey Heating and Electric, don't forget 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. You know, the nice thing about the Ramseys, they're so doggone nice to people. And you go in there and they've got all your heating and electrical needs, and they'll quickly go zip, zip, and get everything put together on the counter, and you're out of there. I'll tell you what, along with your furnace filters, don't forget they've got furnace filters to where you can get up in the morning and not have your little tootsies hit that cold floor. I'll tell you what, all your heating and electric needs at Ramsey Heating and Electric, and they're open 7:30 to 5 Monday through Friday. Ramsey Heating and Electric, where they provide warm winters and cool summers. Okay, now here's the skivvy. The high school game of the week this week is going to be a ripping good one. And this is going to be at the Holt Arena at Idaho State University. And it's going to be Valley, overall 9-0, undefeated, against Kamei, overall 8-1, conference 5-1. And Valley is ranked number 1 in the state. Kamei is ranked 3rd in the state. They're going to go head-to-head, helmet-to-helmet, pad-to-pad. And here's what I need you to do is pick the winner, and the closest to the final score will receive a Denny's Grand Slam breakfast. Ooh, baby, it is good. Denny's Restaurant at 611 Overland in Burley. Don't forget the menu choices. I tell you what, it's just fun to go there and eat and say, well, this time I think I'll try this. This time I think I'll try that. Absolutely excellent food. Thomas and Terry, the whole crew, at 611 Overland and Burley, and a new location at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. Denny's Restaurant sponsoring the game of the week, and you might win a free Grand Slam breakfast. Closest to the final score in the winning team, and you might be the winner. All right, give us a call. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. You know, you turn on the news, and you sit there and honestly just be open-minded and non-prejudicial and listen to the stories and then form your judgment. How blatantly biased and one-sided that the liberal left is. Let's get this really straight and right. Hillary Clinton. Now, caller, I'll tell you what, I'll take the call before I get into this. But I want to get into how biased the left is. But caller, go ahead. You're first. Go ahead on the air.
Okay, yesterday you had about 1 minute left when you were talking to the guest about the boys and the girls' bathrooms. And
yes.
I had an epiphany, I think. Remember back when the smokers kept saying, yeah, but I have the right to smoke, you know, even though the non-smokers, which is one of me, would say, yeah, but I have the right to free air. And we pushed back and we pushed back and we pushed back the non-smokers, and we got the smokers kicked out of the restaurants. They have to go outside to smoke, which is better than being in there with us. They can't smoke in airplanes anymore, so we have to keep pushing back to keep the boys out of the girls' bathrooms and the locker rooms.
You know, let me just say this, and I was going to talk about this a little later, but I'll talk about it right now. I've taken a lot of criticism. I want you to know this right up front, ma'am. I've taken a lot of criticism by a very small minority here in this Magic Valley. What is going on in our school systems, what is going on in our culture is sick, abnormal, and perverted. And like the one student in the Chicago area that was born a boy, you don't choose your gender. You either are a boy or you're a girl. There is no choosing. This one boy has turned the Chicago area school systems into a joke and a farce. Thousands and thousands of kids are being basically held ransom on their education and worrying about what's going to happen in their schools because one boy that's perverted with his attitude, and his parents haven't helped at all, is thinking he's a girl, and he's going to force, along with the Department of Education and the ACLU, that he can go into any girl's restroom or any girl's locker room anytime he wishes. Ma'am, I submit to you that our society and our culture is going down the toilet.
Homeschooling looks better and better.
Amen. God bless you for your call. Thank you.
Bye.
I'm telling you, folks, we're going to talk about this a little bit later, but what is going on in our society? That, you know, the Bible hit it right on the head. It did. It said what is right will become wrong, and what is wrong will become right in the final days. We're seeing that. You take this kid, this teenager, and move him back 4 decades and put him in school, and this ain't going to happen. No way. God does not make mistakes. I've said that till the cows come home on this program. You do not have the right to choose a gender, okay? And it's sick and perverted, and I'm just going to come right out and say they need psychiatric help. Maybe there's a shortage of psychiatrists. Maybe that's a good field to study in college. Because it sounds like we're having more and more people that qualify for getting on the couch and saying, I got a problem. And the parents should be held liable. Where in the world are these parents? You know, for those of you that are offended by this, that's your problem, not mine. There's a right and wrong to everything, and right now, this country needs some definition on rights and wrongs. But what's happening here is so perverted. One boy that has been allowed to basically turn the Chicago school systems upside down and wants to be a girl, education with the Department of Education and the ACLU standing there going, attaboy, go get him, go get him. Well, they're not saying attaboy, they're saying atta-it. This is repulsive and absolutely ridiculous. Caller, good morning, you're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. I can hardly hear you, so I'll just say what I'm going to say. When I was in high school, which was back in the early 40s, I was the only girl, probably in the state of Minnesota, to play on the boys' baseball team, and I was one of the best players. But I was not allowed to play in any of the out-of-town games because they were not required to open a girls' locker room for me. And no school protested it. My school didn't say anything. My parents or I didn't say anything. We accepted it, and that was that, and no big deal. So this is absolutely ridiculous. No wonder our children don't even know who they are anymore.
Amen. Thank you so much for that comment. You know, that's really the last line that she said. No wonder our children don't know who they are anymore. There's no definition. There's no right or wrong. There's no black or white on any issue. Oh, well, you feel that way? Oh, you feel like you want to wear a dress. You feel like you're a girl. Well, here, we'll just roll out the red carpet. Oh, okay. You want to use the girls' bathroom, the girls' locker room? Go ahead, because you feel like you want to choose your gender. This is damn sick and repulsive. And the Twin Falls School District has just implemented a lot of what Houston, Texas voted down on Tuesday. I've got to pay some bills here, and pardon me, I've got that blasted cough back, a little tickle in my throat here. We've got to have a little sip of water. Hold on. Thank God for Deanne grabbing me that glass of water. Don't forget Mini-Cash Sales, 1321 East Main Street in Burley. And they are the sponsor of Dr. History on Tuesdays at 10:06. And we really appreciate Zach and the rest of the crew. I want to hit a little bit about their Tartar Farm and Ranch panels and gates. A lot of people, are saying, well, where can I get this? Where can I get that? Tartar is absolutely the cream of the crop, top of the pile, and good stuff. So you check it out at Mini-Cash Sales. And also the Western Windows. If you need to upgrade your windows to save on your heating bills, that is the place to go. Mini-Cash Sales, 1321 East Main Street in Burley, sponsoring Dr. History. We got into this, and I didn't want to do it until a little bit later, but man, oh man, where are the psychiatrists in this world to sit down and work with these people? They need help. And don't anybody ever call this program and say that that's normal. No, it is not. Calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. You know what it is? Bottom line is that, and for those of you that are not Christian out there again, that's your problem, not mine. Think about what the Bible says, what it is prophesied, and where we are today. Boy, pretty hard to dispute what was said thousands of years ago. It's coming true. Has been for a long time. And for me to sit here and say that I can accept mankind's thinking on various subjects like they know more than God, are you kidding me? I laugh and I snicker at that attitude. The liberal left is really good at that. Well, we feel this is normal, etc. I don't care what you feel is normal. It's not. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, sir. Hey, on that boy in Chicago, and he is a boy, I think they, just a thought out there, I was thinking this, and I might, just a little sarcastic type. If you've got one of these between your legs, you go in that bathroom. If you've got one of these between your legs, you go in that one. We don't care what you...
Well, the graphicity of what you just said, I guess it's already said and done. I can't change it. But in blunt terminology, that's exactly right. But I'll go back to what I read this morning when I started on the program, and I found this little passage, and it was really oh so true. It said, "You, my friend, are no accident. There is a reason you are here. God made you like a first-time father, and He delighted in your birth." Now, there's going to be some people that are going to criticize me, but God does not make mistakes, and I believe that each and every person was created for a certain purpose in the gender that God gave them. And for this kid to dispute that, I'm a girl, I'm going to wear a dress, I'm going to go in the girl's bathroom, this is so doggone sick in our society, it's got to be stopped.
It does. And like you said, God does not make mistakes. I haven't seen one yet.
Well, what do you do, though, Doug? Doug, seriously, I know you're a Christian. I know you've got excellent upbringing. I know your family. I know your heritage. But we are on the precipice. There are those right now that would just like to absolutely pull the plug on this program when I stop talking about this, because they think that their filth and their sleaze and their under-the-table living and attitude should be first and foremost, and we should have to accept it. No!
Well, since when does the minority, well, it's happening now, but minority should not rule the majority.
Well, Doug, where have you been for the last so-and-so years? I mean, for heaven's sakes, the majority's sitting off in a corner and they're licking a lollipop, and the minority is out there making the dictates that we have to adhere to.
Yeah, and what's happened is the Christians, have, okay, we got to love people, we got to accept, but we don't have to lay down and let them walk. No, wait a minute. Caller number 2 that's on the air holding, don't go away, I'll be right with you. But I want to define that. Why do we have to accept perverted and not normal living? Why do we have to accept that? We don't have to accept it.
Okay, but we're being coerced to do it, because if we don't, we're called bigots and hate mongers, and we're called disruptive members of our society. It's the new normal.
Yeah, new normal. That's the key words right there. We need to go to the biblical normal.
Well, yeah, but Doug, see, now there's the denigration of the Bible. There's the denigration of Christians. See, they got us on the run. It's kind of like a lion hunt over in Africa. Boy, they got the jeeps running after us, and they're shooting from on top of that little pedestal. And, boy, we got to get out of the way. They're coming after us, Doug.
Well, they are coming after us, and that's when it's time for us to stand up, look them straight in the eye, and look evil. Basically, we're looking the devil straight in the eye.
It's kind of time to start circling the jeeps with a whole bunch of lions and making these people sweat a little bit.
Exactly. Good point. That's the way to put it. Right?
All right. Doug, always appreciate your call. Thank you.
God bless us and have mercy on America.
There is an excellent way to end the call. Thank you. Caller number 2, I'll be right there. I got to get this quick word in. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. Nick Greenwell. All the physical therapists there are excellent. Nice people. 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Helping you get back to being you with the best of sports medicine, the best of exercises, the hydrotherapy pool, the only one in the area. Great staff, like I mentioned. Please call 678-1191. Make an appointment today at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. They are helping you get back to being you. Thank you for your patience, caller. Go ahead.
Yes, I really agree with the previous caller, and I just wanted to say I think a lot of it is they think this is a good way to get away with voyeurism and exhibitionism.
I totally agree with you. You know, let's just say if you were a mother of a student in the Chicago area right now where they're having this problem in Palatine, Illinois, and your daughter goes to school and she comes home and she says, Mom, that boy was in the bathroom, or that boy was in the locker room. I, for one, would suggest you start a great big lawsuit and stop this immediately. Would you do that?
I would do so.
I believe you would, and I appreciate your call. God bless you for your thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, I think that these school board members and school leaders, principals, and superintendents, and I'm pointing my finger a little bit behind me right now to the west, over in Twin Falls, they deserve to have a little wake-up call, and I think they deserve to have some lawsuits thrown against them. Normalcy should not be thrown on the ground and stepped on. For the one perverted person that is a part of abnormality, we should not have to change our society and change our culture and change right and wrong to go along with their so-called compliance. This is asinine. And we're going to pay for it in the long run. You can bet on it. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I had a call yesterday on my cell phone, and the caller was a good friend of mine. And he says, you're probably going to get a lot of repercussions over this. And I said, bring it on. Bring it on. I know I'm right. Excuse me. So why should I back up? Why should I apologize? Why should I diminish my thoughts if I know I'm right? And I won't back up. For those that know me, that's a gimme. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Don't forget, they're located across from the Minidoka Hospital emergency room, and they are waiting to serve you. You know, a lot of people make fun or laugh about a loss of hearing when they hear somebody say, "What did he say, Martha?" It's not funny, because age does not equate with hearing loss. No, it must be a problem. It could be a medicine problem. It could be something else related to your health. I severely recommend. That's interesting. I highly recommend that you give a call to Mount Harrison Audiology at 312-0957 and make time for a hearing screening with Dr. Christine Pickup. And maybe it can all be rectified. Absolutely. Hearing is very, very special. So I suggest you get a hold of Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids today at 312-0957. Really nice people. All right, your thoughts. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't weaken, folks. Don't accept what's bad in our society. Don't accept the wrong. Don't just say, oh, well, gee, I guess this is changing. Our society is changing. No. That is the liberalness of this problem. We need to stand up. Ministers, church leaders need to stand up and say, no. No, we will not accept this. School leaders need to stand up and say, no, we will fight this. It's about time that the majority, which is still a vast majority, stand up and say, no. Come on, give me a call. I really wonder. Some people have said to me, well, I don't want to call on the radio because I'm afraid my neighbor might hear my voice. What? You're afraid that your neighbor might hear your opinion? You're afraid to utilize and exercise free speech? You're afraid to voice your opinion, which is very possibly the right thought? My goodness, have we got that bad in our society that we're afraid to speak out? We're afraid to say something? Somebody might chastise us or criticize us? We're afraid? Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I want to go back and tell you a little bit about Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump in just a moment, so we'll get to that momentarily. Ramsey Heating and Electric offering rebates on qualified Lennox home comfort systems. Whether it's a gas furnace, an air conditioner, or a heat pump, you and your family will enjoy the comfort. All you have to do is call 678-0459 and learn how Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox can save you money. Caller, good morning. I thank you for your call.
Yes, hey, I was in Twin Falls yesterday to the doctor, and I seen some of these immigrants come in there. Some of these that CSI's got has imported in there, and I wonder what the hell they're doing getting these people in there. You know, we've got enough problems without them. That college getting these people in there. They dress different, they speak different, and everything else. You know, I've lived in this country a long time, and we don't need them people in here.
Well, you know, Fred, I have said for various reasons that I'm against the refugees coming in here. If there are people that need help, and there are people that are destitute, and there are people that are absolutely because of war-torn conditions, and they have nowhere to go, it's great that we can help them somewhat, but I go along with what Billy Graham's son had said a long time ago, earlier this year. For all the money that we've spent bringing them to this country, and they are not vetted properly, we do not have the information on these people that we should have, wouldn't it have been money saving to basically help them stay in their own country? I mean, if troops went in and tried to maintain so that they could live in their own country, in their own culture, in their own heritage, in their own environment, everybody would have been better off. You're not gaining anything by bringing people into an environment that they, A, are not accustomed to, B, don't know the language, and C, we really don't know who all these people are.
That's right. And besides that, we're supporting them all the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it. And by golly, it's good to hear from you again. How's Joyce? How are you doing over there?
Oh, we're doing good.
All right. Well, now, God bless you and have a good day, okay?
Tell me, man, hello.
I will, my friend. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
You bet.
There is a gentleman that I have the utmost respect for, Fred Preston, and a veteran that served our country, a very dear, dear friend. And I got to give him kudos again that he reinstilled in me the thought process that I maybe could become a fisherman. He helped me a lot a couple of years ago. Appreciate that. Calls are welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I want to tell you again, Hillary Clinton has gone on Saturday Night Live. Now, to some people, this isn't a big deal, okay? But I want to just show you the bias. Hillary Clinton went on Saturday Night Live as a co-host, and she, during the course of that Saturday Night Live performance, made jokes and kind of under-the-table remarks about the Republican candidates. That's why they put her on Saturday Night Live. They wanted to stir the soup. Well, then they went to Donald Trump, and he's done it before. They went to Donald Trump and they said, would you come on the program? Oh, my goodness. Now we have a major national outcry. Yo-ho, buddy. A Mexican National Caucus group is gathering signatures, and if you were listening to the news before I started at 8 o'clock, they claim that they have over 500,000 signatures. They're going to present their means to NBC, the network that carries Saturday Night Live, and they're demanding, keyword, they're demanding that Trump is not allowed to host Saturday Night Live because he is a racist. Okay, there's the general crux of the story. All right? Well, then, an illegal alien Mexican group is using, and I'm not making this up, I saw this morning. My wife and I were sitting there watching TV. We saw the video. It is absolutely repulsive. One of the worst things I've ever seen. An illegal alien Mexican advocacy group is using 8 and 9-year-old kids. And in this video, very tasteless and low-class video, which naturally fits the liberal left, they're using these kids and allowing them to use the most vulgar of swear and curse words that you have ever seen or heard on a video. And then at the end of it, demeaning Donald Trump. Now, these kids, honestly, 8 and 9 years old, using words that sailors might use if they have a happenstance on the ship that might cause them conflagration. These languages that these kids are using, not acceptable at all. And it's only put together to demean Donald Trump as a racist. But you know what I think? We ought to find out who these kids are on this video. We ought to find out who their parents are that allowed them to be on this video and be used on this video, and the parents should be arrested and sued for child abuse. Really, it's that bad. These kids at the end of the tape then say, get out of the country, Donald Trump. This is our country. That fried my bacon right there. Get out of the country, Donald Trump. This is our country. What is going on in our society that it's turned upside down? And like I said earlier, right is now wrong. Wrong is now right. Calls are welcome, 436-2244. 1-866-927-4587. Come on, don't be quiet on this issue. Give me a call. Barry Equipment and Rental, don't forget they have the equipment to get the job done right. They have all the equipment for you. Whether you need a Bobcat skid steer loader, oh my, and you're not sure how to run one, hey, go on over there. They'll teach you how. They got a great big area to take you out and go, yep, this, that, there, and the other thing. And they've got all the big Doosan loaders, and they got all the Coyote tractors. I'm telling you, they got all the equipment you need to get the job done right. 3 locations serving you: Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, South Lincoln in Jerome, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. You betcha these are good people at Barry Equipment and Rental. You stop in and see them today. Why so quiet? Give me a call. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Can you imagine whether you're a grandparent or a parent, and you're the grandparent of a little 8 or 9-year-old boy and girl, or the parents, letting your child use the foulest of foul language in a national video condemning Donald Trump and calling him a racist? Now, whether you like Donald Trump or not, that's really kind of irrelevant. He came out and he said that Mexico is sending us, and they are, the worst of the worst with drug dealers, drug trafficking, all kinds of bad people. And you know what? It's true. Kate Steinle was killed by one. We are getting a lot of the vermin across the border. And for these parents and grandparents to let their children appear in such a foul-mouthed video, I'll still go back and maintain we should find out who they are, and these parents should be arrested on child abuse. It's pathetic. What are your thoughts? Oh, gee, Zeb, just let it go. It's the way of the times. Don't get concerned. Baloney. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I want to also mention to you that we were talking just a moment ago about Kate's Law, and that was really pushed, and I many times criticized Bill O'Reilly. I personally don't like Bill O'Reilly, but there are certain circumstances, etc., that I really support him, and I absolutely supported his big leadership on the bill called Kate's Law, which is going to crack down on illegal immigrants here and illegal aliens that have committed crimes and bounce them right back into prison for longer prison sentences. If that would have happened, Kate Steinle probably would be alive today. But Harry Reid, Senator Harry Reid from Nevada, has stopped that bill from going for a vote in the Senate. And he was so upset because he said it's unfair to immigrants. No, Reid. It's absolutely fair to get rid of the vermin in our society. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Thank you for your call.
Good morning, Zeb. You know, the only good thing that's coming about this on the immigration deal is that it's putting the coyotes out of business. You know, they used to charge these aliens, as they're known, a whole bunch of money to get them to the United States. And now all they got to do is just walk across the border or take the bus.
Yeah, but oh goody, we're still suffering from an increased number, and we're still suffering from not knowing who, what, or why they're crossing the border. I'm not going to weaken on this subject. The border needs to be closed. The border can be closed, and the border should have been closed a long time ago.
Absolutely, but it's basically put the coyotes out of business because they were making good money. These people would take their life savings to figure out a way to come to the United States. And at least those people are not being made wealthy by doing this, but they're probably doing it through drugs or otherwise.
You know, I mean,
There's always...
a crime is a crime is a crime, and a criminal is a criminal is a criminal. I mean, there's no variation from what they are and what they're doing. And if there's something going on illegally and we're turning a blind eye to it and a deaf ear, then we're the ones that are at fault.
But you know what? The one thing that breaks my heart, it breaks my heart, is years ago there was a bowling alley up in, I think it's Payette. It was called the Gay Bowl. And look what this changing, using the same word, how it's changed the way it's looked upon.
Yeah.
I don't know if they changed the name of it, or it's still the same thing, or it went out of business. But just by using and gay is a good word. It's, I don't know if there's a definition in the Bible, in the dictionary about it, but to me it would indicate a person is happy.
Our whole society...
I don't think this is what it really means.
Absolutely, Keith, and I appreciate your call and your comments. Our whole society has been turned upside down by a liberal left movement, and it's a concentrated effort to absolutely tear apart the fabric of morality in our country. Thank you for your call. I got to get the weather on. Thanks.
You bet.
Appreciate it, buddy. Mad River Laser is bringing you the weather for this hour, and they're located at 502 East Street in Rupert. Oh my goodness, they got a gift shop that's got all kinds of home decor items, and all the fall goodies leading up to Thanksgiving and Christmas. They've got it all over there for you, and including all the year-end awards. My goodness, they can do anything over there. All your business promotional items, all of this and more at, of course, Mad River Laser, 502 East Street in Rupert. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Here's your weather forecast as we move one day closer to the weekend. Looks like it's going to be cloudy for today. Winds out of the southwest right around 14 miles an hour. Expect a high of 41, tonight low of 29. Tomorrow and for Saturday, pretty much the same. Partly to mostly sunny skies, high of 44 for Friday, high of 50 for Saturday, and then partly cloudy and 48 for Sunday. Sunset tonight is going to be up 5:19. That's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Gina, thank you very much, and we appreciate our weather forecast and the sponsor, Mad River Laser, 502 East Street in Rupert, with Nicole and the gang. Go over there and just honestly take my advice. You're going to love just kind of browsing through there, all the things that they can do for you and your business. All right, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I can't do this program without you, so give me a call and let me know your viewpoints while I'm waiting for you to weigh in on perhaps Senator Harry Reid. You know, what a disgusting man. What a disgusting little man with power that has been heaped upon him, and the blatant use of power that he chooses to display in a negative fashion. I mean, the man is one of the worst little men I've ever seen or heard in my life. And to go against the citizenry of the United States of America and basically stand arm in arm with illegal alien immigrants coming into this country against the protection of taxpayers and their families is absolutely insane. But that's Harry Reid from Nevada. I was watching a report early this morning, and here's another subject that really burned the bottom of my skillet. The waste of money that our so-called politicians are just allowing to happen. And we're not talking thousands of dollars. We're not talking millions of dollars. We're talking the cumulative effect of billions, with a B, dollars, of complete financial waste. Government spending gone amok. Example was on television for the last couple of days, and I'm sure you probably heard about it. $43 million to build a gas station in Afghanistan. $43 million to build a gas station in Afghanistan? And at the most, people have said it shouldn't have cost more than maybe $500,000. Oh, there's our tax dollars at work. Gee, you're working hard at a factory. Gee, you're working hard at a construction job. Gee, you're working hard at a dairy. Whatever. Isn't it comforting to know that your tax dollars that you paid into this government went to help build a $43 million mistake of a gas station over in Afghanistan? Or how about taking your money to the tune of $7 million? Oh, the list goes on with the millions and millions, so they get up by the billions. $7 million was given to a little bitty boat dock to be rebuilt on a lake in Michigan. Oh, I'm sure glad that happened. I mean, here 10 million, there 50 million, here 43 million, here 120 million. It's just like the old video that we've seen for many, many years about all the millions that were spent trying to study a shrimp walking on a little treadmill. I was really waiting to spend money on that. Here, take my check. I can't wait to find out about how many miles that shrimp walked on that treadmill. This is insane. And our senior citizens just had their trust fund robbed by illegal and totally brain-dead politicians to help support the Obama budget deal of $150 billion. And you didn't hear me wrong. I said billion with a B. Oh, well, listen. We'll spend money for a gas station that's not going to be used to the tune of $43 million over in Afghanistan. But, oh, man, I'll tell you what, we got to take that money away from our senior citizens, and we've got to help support Obama's budget. This is insanity. Taking away from the senior citizens, robbing from Social Security, taking away or never even giving to our veterans. And they'll spend money on shrimp on a treadmill, a little boat dock on a lake in Michigan, and a gas station over in Afghanistan. Pull her in and fill her up. Well, there's nobody here right now, sir. Good Lord. Are we insane or what? Give me a call. Help me. My blood pressure's rising. Don't forget your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, and they've got all the best buys in great performance tires. Oh, my goodness, you better believe it. Performance tires for traction greatness in the snow and in the slush and on the ice and everything. They've got the studdable traction tires. They've got all the great value tires for your cars, your SUVs, your pickups, and like the Open Country MT. Woo! This is a good tire. Look at the tread on that baby. 3-ply sidewall, latest traction design, 7-ply tread protection, aggressive tread design, all-weather traction. All of these tires and more are right there at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Brake service extraordinaire, front-end alignments, batteries, the best of service from Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, John on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning again. I was out of town yesterday, so I never listened to your show, but my wife, when I came home, she told me about this, and I thought, where did she get this story from? You know, about the Social Security?
Yeah.
I could not believe it.
Oh, believe it.
Vote at 1 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah, believe me, they did this behind closed doors in the dark of night, and they robbed various portions of government money to help support and push through the budget program for Obama. And not only that, but these cowards, these absolutely milquetoast cowards that call themselves our senators and our congressmen, they basically gave him a blank check on this budget deal so that he can go out and spend anything he wants to with no ceiling on the spending through 2017. Gee, didn't that make you feel warm and fuzzy all over?
Well, I guess I don't understand. Were our congressmen and senators allowed to vote on that?
It doesn't make any... Yeah, they were allowed to speak out, but nobody said anything or did anything. They just went along to go along. Keith, I'm telling you, the insanity that's going on with this Obama administration right now, they have run completely out of bounds, and they're still calling themselves for a touchdown because they're not following the Constitution. They couldn't care less. They're not following any edicts by Congress, of which they have to, but there's thumbing their nose at it, and they are going to just keep spending and spending and spending on whatever they want for the next 441 days.
Well, you can do a lot of damage in that many days. This is not an executive order, then. It's had to be voted on?
Well, they passed it. They passed the budget deal, Keith. Our weak-kneed, milk-toast senators and congressmen, they didn't stand up and fight it. And honestly, I'm looking at Paul Ryan, the new Speaker of the House, and I'm pointing my finger at him, even though Boehner was the one that initially put through the initial movement. I think that the asinine attitude of these people has just got to the point where it's got to be stopped. People have got to, almost like I said yesterday, and I took a little heat over it, I said, we need a revolution of taxpayers in this country because this is out of hand.
Well, I have to count on my Social Security check, so this really not only offends me, it makes me feel like I'm really headed for the poorhouse.
Well, why should you not be mad when you hear that they opened up the key to the lock and took $150 billion out of a Social Security trust fund? That's it, Social Security trust fund. They took that money to cover some of the budget woes and debts of Obama and make this thing sail through Congress easier. It's disgusting, Keith.
But this is the most sacred thing we have in our government is Social Security, because it is the only thing that is really secured and supposed to be untouchable. Yeah,
well, guess again. I got to run to the news right now from CBS. Keith, thank you for calling back. I do appreciate it. You've been listening to Zeb at the Ranch. Make sure you're hearing everything. Contact Mount Harrison Audiology for a hearing screening. Call 312-0957 today. I'll be back in 6. Wheels, take it away. Wheels, take it away. Oh, good morning and welcome back to hour number 2. Zeb at the Ranch with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, and all of their great 7 locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers, including Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Before we go to the phone lines, I also want to acknowledge and thank very much. Yesterday we had Rex Jones on the... I almost had a fly just fly right in my mouth this morning. My goodness sake, excuse me. Hanson Mortuary with Rex Jones was on our program yesterday, and we really appreciate him being on the air. Joel Heward, the manager, and the entire staff and his family are always serving you with the very, very best of just really high ethical treatment when it comes to serving you after there's a passing of a loved one. Always the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. I suggest you give them a call for pre-planning information on funerals at 710 6th Street in Rupert. The number to call, 436-5636. Really nice people that will travel to rural towns and churches to serve you. Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert, 436-5636. I apologize for that. That fly just played kamikaze and flew right into my big open mouth. Good morning, everybody. Let's head on over to the Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce. The lovely lady, Kay Cameron. Good morning, Kay. How are you?
Well, good morning, but this is Jackie, not Kay. She's at the board retreat with all her board members planning out the new year coming up.
All right. Well, now that Jackie's on the air with us, what are you going to talk about this morning?
Well, next week on Thursday is our Farmer and Businessman of the Year banquet. We really want to promote this because we have 2 awesome winners. Mark Newcomb is our Farmer of the Year, And Jose Ochoa, I'm going to really slaughter his name, Ochoa, is our businessman of the year. And he's the owner of Charlie's Cafe, where they put on a fabulous Thanksgiving dinner for everyone.
Okay.
And it's on Thursday, November 12th, and you can purchase your ticket here. And we hope everybody could come. It's at 6 p.m. for the social hour, and dinner's at 7.
Okay, and it's going to be held at the where?
Best Western Plus Berlin.
Okay.
And can I give a shout-out to our sponsors?
Well, I hope you would.
I would love that. They're wonderful. Zions Bank is our event sponsor, and our gold sponsors are McCain and Valley Agronomics, and our silvers are First Federal Bank and Double L Manufacturing, and then our bronze sponsors are Magic Valley Tire, The Voice, Rupert Discount Store, Amalgamated Sugar, Barclay Mechanical, the L11s, Northwest, Idaho Power, and Scout.
Wow, you went through that in a big hurry. Well, that sounds like a lot of fun. Now, can they stop by the chamber and get tickets, Jackie?
Yes, please. November 10th is our cutoff day for selling tickets, but I'm sure we can go later than that because we really want to support these wonderful people because they have to not just be outstanding in their field, but they also have to be able to give service back to the community, and they've all met that criteria. And I'm sure you all know about Charlie's Cafe doing a Thanksgiving dinner, but the first year started out with 75 attendees, and last year was 1,400.
Oh, my goodness. Now, Jackie, you've got a real soft voice. I'm going to ask you to speak up a little bit. What else is going on at the Mini-Cassia Chamber of Commerce?
All right. We have our wonderful visitor center that is stocked full of wonderful Idaho gifts. People come in to purchase gifts for when they travel out or just the visitors coming in, but it's just also for local people for when they want to give us something special from Idaho. We have everywhere from jewelry to Cowboy Tom's pancake mix to bracelets and rocks, you name it, we have it.
Well, let me ask you this. How does somebody get their product over at the gift shop? I mean, what do they have to do to put their Idaho specialized products in there for retail?
Contact me, and I will look it over, and if I think it's something that we can sell, then we can either purchase it outright, or we also have a consignment where we can make a deal with them and be able to sell that product here.
All right.
We have several consignees over here, and we have beautiful bowls that are made off the leaves off the arboretum over here at the Hebron Riverside Park, and they're beautiful. And that's one of our consigned items. So.
All right. Now, give us the numbers. And Kay goes through a litany of different avenues of approach on how to get a hold of the chamber. So I want to see if you know that, too. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. You can contact us at 679-4793. You can reach us on Facebook, and our web address is also www.minicashiachamber.com. But more importantly, we'd love for you just to stop in and see us at 11777 7th Street in Hebron. Across the corner from Upper Crest.
Very, very well done. Jackie, you did a really good job, and I appreciate it, and you have a wonderful week.
All right, thank you.
All right, take care. Thank you very much. Mini-Cassia Chamber of Commerce, and Jackie filling in for Kay this morning. Thank you. Job well done. Let's not forget Let's Ride. Highway 24, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and Hebron, and they've got it all for fun outside. You know, the four-wheelers, and they've got the snow machines, and they've got the timber sled snow bikes. They got a super staff over there that can help you. I mean, really help you get into all the outdoor recreation sports. I mean, man, they can help you. And that's where I bought my four-wheelers. Nick and the crew, they are fantastic, I'll guarantee you. They've got all the accessories, the best of service. I'm telling you, folks, financing is available. You'd better get over there and see them today. It's true. That's where the fun is sold. Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and Hebron. You stop over and see those good folks today. Right now, it is time for one of my favorite segments. We've had a lot of fun with these very, very nice people, and I'm looking forward to the conversation today. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to go over to Minidoka Memorial Hospital at 1224 8th Street in Rupert. Your health is very, very important, so you want to work with the best that really care, and that's the folks at Minidoka Memorial Hospital. And on the phone with us right now this morning is the lab manager at Minidoka Memorial Hospital, Mr. Bart Hansen. Bart, good morning to you. How are you?
I'm getting him on the phone, sir. It's still ringing.
All right. Well, I hope he answers the phone quickly, and we'll have him hopefully on the air momentarily. So another thing I want to remind everybody about is don't forget, if you're over in Highway 24 area, Cameron and Siemens Insurance. Don't forget life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, all of this by people that really care and are accessible and devoted to serving you. Give them a call, 436-4424. The number for an office meeting with them at Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Wheels, do you have them on the line?
Yes, sir, I do.
All right, thank you. Good morning to Bart Hansen, lab manager at Minidoka Memorial Hospital. How are you, sir?
I'm good, Zeb. How are you?
Well, good. You know, tell us a little bit. I'm going to change this thing up a little bit. I don't like to read questions, and I don't read questions. I make things up as I go along. What is a day in the life of the lab manager at Minidoka Memorial Hospital? What do you do?
I don't know if you have enough time. Well, we take care of a lot of patients' needs as far as what their physicians want to see in lab tests, so we can help them feel better.
All right, but that's kind of a general synopsis, but I mean, your day, is it the same every day? Do you just sit there peering into a microscope? What do you do?
No, we have a lot of different instruments that require constant quality control, constant maintenance. They have to be perfect. The instruments have to run perfectly so that we get reliable results each and every time, because, we're dealing with people's health.
Well, now, what about these various tests? I mean, you, as the lab manager, you must have a great amount of education in this field, as do the others that work for you, because, like you said, there's zero tolerance for any mistakes.
Correct. It does require a bachelor's degree, as well as, a lot of experience. We do clinical rotation when we're doing our schooling and things like that. So yeah, it does require a lot of time and dedication to the field, because there is a lot of scientific equations and chemistry and anatomy and physiology, and there's all systems that are involved in dealing with lab tests. All
right, Bart, I'm going to put you on the spot here a little bit, but how do the researchers, come up with the final actual tests for testing for various diseases and whatever? I mean, the research, how do they figure out they need to do step A to get to step B? That's really amazing to me.
Right. Yeah, you know what, Zeb, that's changed over the years. It used to involve a lot of chemistry and, breaking down parts of serum and plasma and cells and whatnot in the human body. Nowadays, we deal more with DNA sequences, proteins, and things like that are very, very specific to certain diseases.
Mm-hmm.
And those proteins and those DNA sequences are then mapped, and then we have special instrumentation that can identify those sequences and identify when they're wrong, or when they're faulty, or when there's problems there. And so basically the researchers have to find those sequences and find when they're wrong and when they're right. And so they do a lot of testing on not only people and those that volunteer, but those that do have the disease. And, so it makes things a lot easier, and things are a lot more
specific and a lot more accurate than they used to be.
Well, then let me ask you this question, Bart. I mean, are you part of a continuing education program? Because it sounds to me like today's a memory and tomorrow's a new field. They might be changing things overnight as far as study is concerned. Do you have to keep going back and retraining yourself?
Yes, we have to participate in constant proficiency testing that proves to our governing boards or those people that make sure we're doing things correctly that we can still identify problems, that we can find things that are abnormal. So basically, we get tested 3 to 4 times a year in all of the fields that we provide results for. Sometimes they're rather difficult. I'm just finishing up one now that has really taxed me as far as finding the answer. So
okay, now let's just break this down a little bit. And believe me, I don't think anybody's been in the hospital as much as I have. I mean, I've spent literally years in the hospital. You take a blood sample, and that basically turns you into a detective, kind of like the NCIS on TV or whatever, CSI, whatever it might be. So from that blood sample, it's on your shoulders and your staff's shoulders to find out what is going wrong, right?
Correct. The physician will order certain lab tests where he believes the problem may lie, and from those tests he can make a diagnosis. Certain tests indicate abnormalities or sicknesses or something that we may be facing, and so yeah, it's very important that we get those answers correct and that we process the samples and specimens properly so that we can provide those answers.
Okay, well, let me ask you this question then. You get a blood sample and all of a sudden you come up with a supposed diagnosis or a cause and effect type thing, but are there safeguards on kind of a backup follow-up or another plan too in case that isn't that discerning to tell you the problem?
Yeah, there is. Most of the time, we don't go off one answer. So one abnormal result does not necessarily indicate that you have that disease. We got to find two or three things that really tell us, okay, this person has this disease or this person has this ailment. So, it's not just one little thing. And sometimes people can have something abnormal and that's normal for them. So we have to interpret that too. So
okay,
that's typically how that goes.
So Bart, would the lab at Minidoka Memorial Hospital be basically the same as a lab in a large metropolis like Chicago or New York?
It's very similar. We don't have as many. We probably don't have as many instruments, nor can we offer the amount of tests that they would have in, say, a large metropolis.
Mm-hmm.
We're kind of financially limited by that. So, for instance, in a large metropolis, in, like, say, New York, like you mentioned, there's such a large population, they would have so many more people after a certain test than we would have.
I see.
We might have them once every 6 months or something like that. So we have to utilize specialized reference labs to do certain tests. But for the most part, we have a very large test battery here at Minidoka. We can do pretty much everything that most physicians ask for in-house. Otherwise, we have some really good specialized reference labs.
Well, let me ask you this thought then. What about the lab and what you do, and really what are the benefits of what you do huddled in your laboratory every day that would help the community?
We offer a lot of wellness opportunities for people. Most people realize or know us by our annual health fair. And, this is really a great opportunity that we offer the community to basically check their overall wellness. And we have identified a lot of patients that didn't know they were headed down a bad way. before it got bad,
Uh-huh.
before it got to the point where they couldn't do something about it. And I feel that's one of the best things that we have to help, the community, is our annual health fair and providing this service for people. The Affordable Health Care Act provides the opportunity for people to go in once a year and get a wellness check.
Mm-hmm.
And I would encourage everyone to do that. And then also take advantage of the health fair. That gives you 2 times a year to get yourself checked out so that you know what you're doing is good and that you're healthy.
Okay, last thought. You sound like you really enjoy your job as the lab manager.
I do. It's very interesting. It's rewarding to deal with patients and to help them feel better. And we have great people here at Minidoka. We're really a good team. We work together well. We have good physicians. I do. I really enjoy my job here.
Well, I tell you what, it's been a treat, honestly, to talk to you, and I can tell that you're very, very good at your job. Lab manager of Minidoka Memorial Hospital, Bart Hansen. Come back and talk to us in the future, would you?
Thanks, Zeb. I will.
All right, sir. Thank you. Again, I really enjoy these meetings on the air with the great folks over at Minidoka Memorial Hospital, 1224 8th Street in Rupert. Your health is so important, so you want to work with the best that really care, and that's Minidoka Memorial Hospital. General information number to call, 436-0481. Thank you, Bart. I appreciate it. Right, now, where in the world did all these dogs come from all of a sudden? They're all over the place this morning. Holy cow. Oh, somebody go catch that Doberman. Here comes the operations director for Minidoka Animal Control. I just gave him a new title. And it's Officer Ken Mort. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, Zeb. How are you today?
Well, I am fantastic. What is going on with Minidoka Animal Control?
Well, today we want to feature Cole. He is a Shepherd Lab cross, and he is solid black with just a little bit of white on his chin and left paw. He's about a year old. He is very timid with people, especially people he has never or doesn't know. He'll come up to you and stuff and that, but keep his distance. And you try to reach to pet him on that, he takes off running like you're going to hurt him. He was actually running loose for about 2 months in the country. And some people got a hold of me, and I was finally able to lure him in and get him picked up. And I've been working with him, but he definitely needs somebody that's got a lot of patience and is able to give him a lot of TLC. I mean, he'll be a great dog. He does not do good on a leash, doesn't like a leash, which I'm trying to work with him on that as well. But he'll make somebody a great pet on that who's got the patience to work with him and give him the tender love and care that he needs.
It doesn't sound like he's a mean dog. It sounds like he's a very afraid dog.
He is. He's very scared. I mean, he shows no aggression whatsoever. And he would rather tuck his tail and run away from you than to have any kind of aggressive contact. So we're thinking that maybe he might have been abused when he was younger and had ran away and just because the people that actually found him, he said he was living in a culvert over behind their house for about 2 months.
Oh my! Now he's a German Shepherd what cross?
Lab.
I really feel... Now, this one touches my heart. It sounds like the dog needs a whole bunch of love, and he's not going to hurt anybody, but he's just scared of people.
He is. I mean, and he's... when I picked him up, I literally had to pick him up and carry him because he did not like at the leash. But when I picked him up and just showed him that I wasn't going to hurt him and love on him and everything, I mean, he was just great. I mean, he's probably about 60 pounds. So, I mean, he's a good-sized dog. The people that had found him and stuff and that kept putting dog food out for him and were making sure that he had food and water and that. But he wasn't the type of dog that they wanted to try to keep or anything because they're an older retired couple that were getting ready to plan on doing some traveling, and they just couldn't see him being able to do the traveling with them that they want to do.
Well, you know dogs better than I do, but I would say here is a prime candidate for someone that really has the time to make a dog a real personalized dog. This dog probably would be your best friend for the rest of his life.
Oh, exactly. I mean, with the right people and stuff, and the right tender loving care and everything. I mean, he'd probably be the best dog that a person could ever have.
Okay, now how do they go about seeing the dog and trying to come in and just sit down with him and exchange personalities?
They can get a hold of us at the facility at 438-2200, or can contact me on my cell phone at 670-726 or 7268, or they can get a hold of Deb Hines with Haver's Animal Control at 670-4348.
Okay. You know, this...
also,
okay.
We've got our open house next week and our ribbon cutting ceremony. We actually got the details all worked out. We're going to do the ribbon cutting ceremony on November 10th at 11 o'clock in the morning. We've got the Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce is going to be over there to get the ribbon cutting ceremony done. We'll be having a little bit of an open house during that time. And for those individuals who work during the day that are not going to be able to make it to that, we're going to have a second open house on that same day from 5 to 6:30 that evening, so that everybody can come down, check out the new facility, see what all we've done, and then the following week our intentions are to be able to plan on start moving over there and getting the new facility up and running.
All right, Ken, I'll tell you what, I want you to remember, what did you call this dog that we featured?
Cole.
Cole. C-O-A-L?
C-O-L-E.
Oh, C-O-L-E. Well, picky, nitty-gritty. Okay. I want you to follow up and let me know how this dog's doing, because that really concerns me. This dog needs a home. He's a loving dog, and all he needs is somebody to put his arm around him and say, good dog, right?
Exactly. That's exactly what he needs.
All right. Hey, man, good job. Talk to you next week. Where'd all these dogs come from?
Who let the dogs out?
I'll tell you what, Officer Ken Moore at Minidoka Animal Control, call him on that dog. That dog, Cole, sounds like it really would be a find for somebody that needs a dog that just needs to be loved, okay? We're going to have I'm going to have my choking here in a minute. We're going to have our next guest with us momentarily. I want to remind you about Red's Trading Post, 203 5th Avenue South in Twin Falls. They've got all the great firearms you could possibly be looking for, with Browning, Beretta, Weatherby, Ruger, Benelli, Smith & Wesson, and Winchester. All the ammunition, all the accessories, and great people to help you. I've said for a long time, it's past time for you to go in and check on a firearm, because you need to learn how to protect yourself and your family. So get in there today to the Old Town historic location of Red's Trading Post, 203 5th Avenue South in Twin Falls, with my dear friend Ryan Horsley. Don't forget, too, Ramsey Heating and Electric offering rebates on qualified Lennox home comfort systems. I don't care if it's a gas furnace, an air conditioner, or a heat pump, you and your family will enjoy the comfort. Absolutely. Call 678-0459 and learn how Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox can save you money. And speaking of Ramsey Heating and Electric, my goodness, it's time for that beautiful lady, Rita Ramsey. How are you this morning?
Good morning. I'm real good.
You probably know where I'm going to go on some of these issues that we need to discuss, but Rita, yesterday when I had that story on my program about the government, our congressmen and our senators going right along with whatever Obama wanted for the budget, and they literally stole out of a trust fund for Social Security $150 billion. Did that not make you just madder than hops?
This has made me mad since the first time they opened up the lockbox. They shouldn't have done it. They knew they shouldn't have, and they didn't care, because it was just like an addict who needed more money for something else. Doesn't care where they take the money from. They should never have touched it. They should have left it alone. That money has been deducted from people's paychecks for 50-some years, and that money should be there, and they should never have touched it. The big problem is that we, the citizens, have not held them accountable, And as long as we don't kick their fannies out of there, they're going to just keep on doing it because they don't care. They don't think we care or we know, and so they just do it.
Rita, did you hear anybody on the radio or television at any time since that became acknowledged that they had done this say something like, oh, well, gee, we'll pay it back or we'll put the money back in 3 or 4 years?
Well, no, and their intent is it's a shell game and we'll just move it around and everything will be fine. Well, now they're saying that the Social Security account isn't going to be lasting any longer than 7 or 8 years, and I'd be surprised if it even lasts half that long. And so what are they going to do? Are they going to say, well, we're just going to have to do this or we're going to have to do that? Chris Christie's taken kind of a lot of heat for saying, we need to tell the people the way it is, and we need to come up with a plan. And that plan is that some of the people that are in their 40s and still have 20 years to plan maybe need to plan ahead a little bit further. But we're already up to, I'm 60, and my retirement, according to the thing, says that I need to wait till I'm 70, so it's already moved from 65. I mean, I guess I could do something earlier on if, worst came to worst, but they're already moving it up. But, they just keep manipulating it. And the very best thing would be if they let the people stay on it who are on it now, take a small a tax out of the people who are there, and then let them invest the rest of their money however they want it so that they have their money when they get ready to retire, instead of having the government, who we know are not very good people over their money. They're just not stewards. They're not good stewards at all.
Well, here's the thing that bothers me. This is nothing more than a bunch of guys getting together, putting masks over their faces, and robbing, and are thieves. They should be arrested. All these congressmen and senators should be absolutely forced out of their office by the sharp tongs of a pitchfork in their south end, because this is thievery. And they have absolutely committed a crime and given Obama a blank check he can spend with no ceiling limits on this stupid budget until 2017. I am incensed over this.
Well, we should be. And the part that really makes you mad is, the Senate and the Congress keep saying, well, we can't do anything, and we can't do this, and we can't do that. Well, you know what? It's a sad day when all you do is go along with your party. I understand that sometimes you need to go across the aisle and work with them on specific issues, just like that Kate's Law thing. That should have been something that everybody, didn't matter what your persuasion for politics was, should have said, you know what, this is what we need to do. We need to make sure that these guys who have records and they're bad people are going to just really get hung out to dry when they come back in here. Instead of oh no, we can't do that. We've just got to, do what we want to do because we're Democrats. And the thing of it is it would be the same if they were Republicans. But when you don't get together and say, this is what's best for the country, you're basically saying it doesn't matter what's best for the country. It matters what's best for the party that I belong to.
I was absolutely repulsed when I listened to and watched Harry Reid, this diminutive little man that is so evil, stand at that podium and say, well, we can't have that bill because it's unfair to immigrants. Number one, he should have called it like it is. It is a bill designed to kick into jail illegal aliens that have committed serious crimes, and the garbage that he tries to impose on the American people, calling them immigrants, that's offensive to me.
Well, it should be offensive to all of us, because the thing of it is it's not offensive just to immigrants. It should be offensive to all of us, and it isn't immigrants that they're talking about. It's people who have had felonies and need to be in jail anyway, instead of letting them all stay out and back and, turning their backs when things are going on. I was glad to see that the people in San Francisco and the county over there got rid of their sheriff. Hopefully the new sheriff will be somebody who will say, you know what, we're not going to have a sanctuary city anymore.
Absolutely. Which leads me to another part of our conversation this morning. Tuesday, voting day, I saw some bright spots in an otherwise very dark tunnel. I saw the San Francisco sheriff get bounced. We saw legalized marijuana get bounced in Ohio. And we also saw this sick, perverted bathroom bill to help support lesbians, gays, and transgenders get voted down in Houston. There were some bright spots.
Well, that is exactly right. However, it kind of makes you wonder, because remember back in I think it was in the 80s when California had, what was it, Proposition 8, when they were against
gay marriage.
I think it was the gay marriage thing, and the Clintons came back. It was in the 90s. Clinton came back and said, no, you can't do that, and he overruled it and said, you will do this. And so when the people vote and vote something in, you've got to have some governors that will step in and say, you know what, we're going to take this to the Supreme Court. This is a states' rights. The people voted for this, and this is the way we're going to do it. And I think we would have seen a lot different perspective from some of the Supreme Court people if we had started with that. But instead it's like, no, just let the president do whatever he wants to do, and he can tell all the states what they have to do and what they can and can't do, and that's just the way that it is.
But have you ever in your life, now I'm a little older than you are, by quite a few years as a matter of fact, I never thought in my lifetime I would be sitting watching a television newscast and one teenage boy, born a boy, that wants to become a girl could disrupt an entire Chicago school district because he, along with his lawyers and the ACLU, are demanding that he be able to use the girls' restroom and locker room. This is so sick and perverted. What in the world is going on in our society?
Well, it's just what we will accept, and you know what's bad about that is we're talking about kids here. We're not even talking about adults. We're talking about kids. They should be no more worrying about whether they're transgendered or gay or anything else when they're kids.
Yeah, but you know, this is a problem, and look what Twin Falls School District did. They bought into this. They bit the hook, and they set the hook, and now they're adopting this same policy. We are seeing a complete ruination of the majority that want moral attitudes in our schools and our churches and everything. That's being thrown away in favor of sick, perverted attitudes. I'm going to call it the way it is.
Well, you're absolutely right, and it all boils down to one thing, and that is some people need to get out some petitions and start getting some signatures and get these people tossed out. And this is why we're tossing you out, is because you've done this and you voted for it and you were perfectly fine with it, and we're against it. And start going door to door saying you're not going to do this to us. That's the only way that differences are going to be settled, is if the Joe Q public will go out and start making a statement to their elected leaders.
Absolutely. Okay, Rita, here's another subject. Not too long ago, Hillary Clinton was a guest host on Saturday Night Live. Oh, she had a wonderful time. She was on there with different skits, and she was running down the Republicans and all the possible Republican nominees. Had a wonderful time for 90 minutes. Oh, but now they thought they'd be fair and balanced, and they asked Donald Trump to come on the air and host it this Saturday, and all heck is breaking loose, and people are filing grievances. They're signing petitions. It's absolutely pathetic. They're calling him a racist, and they're saying NBC should not let him on there. Why the big difference, Rita?
It's because he's from the wrong party. If you're from the wrong party, you don't have a voice. You can't speak. You can't say your piece. We're the only ones, and that's the way that the Democrats are, or the liberals, whether they're Democrat or independent. They think that it's good to be able to speak your piece if you say what I want you to say. But if you don't say what I want you to say, you don't have any right to say it. And we're going to fire you and toss you out of here. depending on what the circumstances are. Anybody can say anything they want as long as they're Democrat or liberal, but you get somebody that's conservative, and boy, that just won't go over at all.
Well, that's true. And as a matter of fact, a Mexican National Caucus group is signing up people on a petition. They claim they've got 500,000 signatures. Oh, and they're so upset because Donald Trump is a racist, according to them. But the worst thing I've seen, and I want you to comment on this, I saw the video this morning of another illegal alien Mexican group that used their 8- and 9-year-old kids to call Donald Trump a racist in a video, and they used the foulest of foul language. I think, and I said earlier this morning, the parents should be found out who they are, and they should be arrested for child abuse. Do you agree?
I think that somebody does need to do some investigating and find out who those kids belong to and get Child Protective Services involved, because they are creating some of the worst abuse to kids that can happen, and that is to put them out there where they're saying that kind of stuff, and instead of saying, you know what, you're a little kid, and if you use that kind of language again, I'm going to get out a bar of soap.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm going to do a weather forecast, and when we come back, I want you to kind of give a breakdown as to what you think about the polls that have come out lately that show in some polls that Dr. Ben Carson is way ahead of Trump, and other polls show that Trump is way ahead of Carson. We're going to talk about that in a minute. The weather is brought to you by Gano Landscaping and Sprinkler Service. All your tree trimming, pruning, removal of tree limbs. Get those broken limbs off those trees before the winter winds whoop right through the bay window. And don't forget, too, they need to blow out your sprinkler systems. Don't let them freeze up, because then you're really going to have some headaches. Call Gano Landscaping and Sprinkler Service at 438-2485 or 431-8733. And now here's Gina with the weather.
Here's your weather forecast as we move one day closer to the weekend. Looks like it's going to be cloudy for today. Winds out of the southwest right around 14 miles an hour. Expect a high of 41, tonight low of 29. Tomorrow and for Saturday, pretty much the same. Partly to mostly sunny skies, high of 44 for Friday, high of 50 for Saturday, and then partly cloudy and 48 for Sunday. Sunset tonight is going to be at 5:19. That's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina. Brought to everybody this hour by Gano Landscaping and Sprinkler Service. Easy numbers to remember, 438-2485 or 431-8733. You call them today. What about the polls, Rita? There's so doggone many polls. The Quinnipiac poll, the NBC poll, the Fox News poll. Good heavens, what about all these polls?
Well, I don't know how it's been when somebody's called you for, we want to know how you stand on such and such. But I know that when they call up, they usually call the people that they're wanting to lean towards. And so sometimes you don't get a real accurate picture of what the issue is. I know there's been a few times that my husband has answered the phone, and there was such and such polling, and they wanted to ask a few questions. And then the first question is they asked, are you Democrat or Republican? When he said Republican, they said, okay, thank you, and hang up, and it's over with. And so if they don't say, well, we're independent polling and we want to know this, and they ask all of the questions and they put down no matter which side of the aisle you are, it'd be true. But these pollsters, they're so far off, and it's because I think they just talk to who they want to. So it doesn't surprise me that it wouldn't be, a real accurate on several different polling sites.
Well, what do you think, though, about the numbers? Let's talk about the numbers for a little bit. In the last debate, now I'm going to be very honest and frank, I did not think that Donald Trump did very well. I'm not saying he did bad, but I don't think he did very well. But yet, a lot of the polls have had him as the winner of the last debate. I don't think so. I'm going to be fair and honest about this. I honestly thought that two people went to the forefront in the last debate. Number one was Ted Cruz. Number two was Marco Rubio. And the polls have still got either Donald Trump way out in front of Dr. Ben Carson, or flip-flop it and Carson ahead of Trump. What are your thoughts?
Well, that's exactly what I think. I think that Donald Trump kind of laid low, and there were, a couple of times, like the one question when he asked, he says, well, that wasn't a very nice way to ask a question, but he said it quite low, and I think he was trying to be somewhat low-key so that he didn't do any damage, because I think debates are not his strong point. And so I think that he just kind of, he kind of towed the line and went along real evenly. And there were spikes by Ted Cruz is probably the best and who had really made a difference. Rubio kind of fought back a little bit, but Chris Christie even made some good points and told him, you guys are just a bunch of idiots when you're asking about the fantasy football or whatever it was. There's other things that need to be talked about. So even though that Ted Cruz rather Donald Trump and Dr. Carson didn't do overly well in the debate, they didn't harm themselves any. The others kind of spiked up, and so I feel like that anybody who says that Donald Trump won the debate is like, well, your numbers might have stayed up there, but you didn't win the debate.
Yeah. I want to ask you about another person that, quite frankly, I'm glad he's not doing well. I don't like the man. I don't want him to become president. I don't want him to even be considered as a presidential nominee. That's Jeb Bush. I'm sorry if it offends somebody. That's my attitude. He's down in very low numbers. Some polls have him at 5%. Some polls have him at 7%. And now he's rearranged some of his strategy as far as saying now a new campaign slogan, Jeb can fix it. Well, evidently not, because he hasn't found the toolbox yet. He's still running in single-digit numbers.
It was kind of sad. He was interviewed by Sean Hannity last night, and I couldn't help but think, you know what, this guy just does not have any... you remember how when George Bush was running and everybody kept saying, well, he needs to have some gravitas.
Yeah.
Well, that's what Jeb Bush needs. He needs a little bit of pizzazz and a little gravitas, because he is pretty flat. He is just not... It doesn't seem like his heart's in it. It seems like I'm really not interested in doing this.
I totally agree with that concept, because I've watched him and he's made some speeches, and a lot of times, don't you get the impression that he is like a deer in the headlights? He's got to look like, oh my gosh, I'm not sure the answer to this question, so don't ask it. Don't you get that impression?
Yeah, what ends up happening with him is they ask the question, and he's thinking the whole time now, let's see, how am I going to answer this so it doesn't sound bad, but I got to sound good, but I got to know the right thing, I got to say the right stuff, instead of just saying, you know what, say what's in your heart, tell us what you believe. We don't need you to analyze it, we don't need you to weigh it out and see if you're saying the right thing, just say it. And that's why people like Dr. Ben Carson and Donald Trump, is because when they're asked a question, they give the answer without weighing it out or being measured. I
want to just say something about Carly Fiorina, and I'm not advocating her, I'm not promoting her, I'm not doing any of that. But I am going to say this. Carly Fiorina and her policies and the way she feels and the way she had her background developed from her different businesses and the boardroom, etc., that's all fine. But I think the liberal left now has gone to the bottom rung of the ladder when they start attacking her for her looks. I just think that is as low as a person can be when you start criticizing someone on their looks or possibly their disability.
Well, it really is, and this is the other thing. I would like to challenge them. If you want to get looks, why don't you start comparing her? Who's prettier, her or Hillary?
Yeah. Oh my goodness, yes.
You start finding. You can see it in their countenance that people, when they believe in good things, it's like they kind of have just this countenance to them. And when you get some of these libs and these ugly people, they are just ugly, horribly ugly physically. And you start comparing some of them, take the MSNBC and some of the hosts and the news people on some of the other stations and compare them against the supposedly conservative news station, which is Fox. Who has the best looking ones?
Yeah, but why does it have to come down to that? I couldn't care less. If you're looking at a cosmetic for someone to be judged whether they're presidential or not, we are in really a sick society.
Well, the whole thing is that anymore we don't look at somebody with what they have to offer, what they've done, and oh, by the way, they're not really much to look at, but you know what? They're a pretty good person, and they've done this and that and the other. We are so fickle that we just look at their looks and, oh, they're fat, or they this, or they that, or anything else, except saying, you know what? She is so smart. She is just, she really made a lot of difference when she went to Hewlett-Packard and this kind of thing. And then we can't look at Hillary's record either, No, she didn't do very good at the State Department. She didn't do very good at this. And she had 3 pieces of legislation in the New York Senate, or when she was a senator for New York, and there were 3 measly little things in 10 years, and we can't do that. We can't measure them by their qualities or their successes. We have to look at them. With conservatives, we look at them like, are you pretty or not? And with liberals, it's like, you just have to accept it. So there's a double standard all the way around, and it's never for what your accomplishments are.
Amen. Really quick, what's going on with the Tea Party? I've got a minute left.
Well, next week we're going to have Elizabeth Hodge come and visit with us and give us a kind of a report on the Liberty Academy that was held during the summer. And then we're going to look at a video, and if we have time, we've got one that we'll look at that's about the border that the sheriff gave us, and if not, we've got a different one that's about Islam that we'll be looking at.
All right, Rita Ramsey, really good conversation this morning. Thank you. God bless you, and have a wonderful week.
You too, Zeb. Thanks.
Thank you very much. I love having that lady on the program. Don't forget Scow's CarQuest Auto and Truck Parts. Scow's Incorporated. That's a name that everybody knows because every detail matters. With parts, sales, and service since 1949 to keep your vehicles running. You better believe it. Scow's CarQuest in Rupert, 323 East 8th Street, Highway 25. CarQuest of Burley, 518 Overland, and the Big Truck Center at I-84 exit 211. You'd better believe it. They've got everything you need to get ready for the winter driving, all the batteries, all the liquids, everything. You also should know they've got a great selection of all the tools you might need, along with the Mahindra tractors. My goodness, the list goes on and on. Scow's CarQuest Auto and Truck Parts. And Scow's since 1949, every detail matters. This time of the day, I got to be honest with you. Here we go. You know what's coming. I get a little bit more than hungry and starving to death. Oh, boy, let's take a little tour. How about Taco Bandito? 2301 Overland and Burley. The pumpkin empanadas are there. Oh, my goodness, and the steak and chicken burritos and the breakfast burritos. They're so good. You're going to love them. Love them. So you stop in today to Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley. Yeah, buddy. How about Steve-O's, 290 South, 600 West of Hayburn? Food made the way you love it. Oh, my. What a great selection on the menu. And then, of course, don't forget the pork chops and the salad and the choice of potatoes. Or how about for an appetizer? And, oh, boy, these are good. Steve-O's nacho fries topped with cheese and jalapeno peppers. Oh, my goodness. You're going to love Steve-O's, 290 South, 600 West of Hayburn. Let's move on over to Burgers, etc. Two locations serving you. 124 South Oneida in Rupert and 700 Overland in Burley. Oh, my goodness, they got the pumpkin milkshakes, and they got all the delicious burgers, the bacon burgers. I love bacon burgers, cheeseburgers, and, of course, the fries and the onion rings. And every Sunday at the Burley location of Burgers, etc., a shrimp dinner special. You're going to love the people. You're going to love the food at Burgers, etc. in Rupert and Burley. Last but not least, on our tour of great places to go, the AC Drive-In, 601 East Main in Burley. Have you tried that chicken fried steak sandwich? That is good. Along with some fries and the fry sauce and maybe a pumpkin milkshake. Or how about the famous Farmer Brown burgers? Oh, the ranch burgers. It's all there. It's all there for you at the AC Drive-In, 601 East Main in Burley. And those are just a few great places to go when you're hungry and starving to death. And boy, am I. I've got some public service announcements I got to make here real quick. And I want to remind everyone that the game of the week this week is between Valley and Kamei. They're going to be playing Friday night at 8:15 p.m. at the Holt Arena, the Idaho State University, and Valley versus Kamei. That's the game of the week. You pick the winning team and the closest to the final score, and you might win a Grand Slam breakfast from Denny's at 611 Overland in Burley. Also, coming up this Saturday, the Veterans Helping Veterans fundraiser spaghetti dinner and raffle to help raise money to help veterans that are in need, sponsored by Combat Veterans Motorcycle Association and Veterans Helping Veterans chapters Twin Falls, Burley, Rupert, and Idaho Falls. It's going to be at the River Christian Fellowship Church in Twin Falls on Falls Avenue. Time of the dinner, 5 o'clock, and then the time of the raffle at 7. So those are just a few things, and I got time for one more quick one. The Relay for Life Fall Kickoff is going to be at Morey's Convention Center on November 14th. Open house at 10 in the morning till 2. Don't forget the Relay for Life. Open to the public. Come see what the Relay of Life is all about. Got to run to the news. I'll be back in 6. Oh, we're on the home stretch now. Look out. It's a Thursday, hour number 3. Zeb at the Ranch with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations. And, of course, some of our great advertisers like Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Oh, let's take a look at what's going on over at the Chadwick Sports Grill, 139 West Main in Burley. Today's special, beef stroganoff on egg noodles with garlic toast and super salad. I think that sounds just really good on a chilly day. Beef stroganoff on egg noodles with garlic toast. Yeah, buddy, you're going to love all the menu choices and the specials at the Chadwick Sports Grill in Burley. You stop in and see them today. Now, I want to take just a moment here before we go to Cassia County School Days, and I want to reiterate about our football game of the week. And I want to tell you that if you pick the right team, the winning team, and the closest to the final score, you will receive a breakfast from Denny's in Burley at 611 Overland. Now, I want to stress the fact that you have got to get your pick and your score into my email, which is zeb@theranch@hotmail.com. Now, a lot of people get confused with the first at. It is a word. It's a word. Zeb@the-ranch. 4 words. Then the @ hotmail.com. Zeb@theranch@hotmail.com. Or you can call them into my cell phone, 312-2976. Once again, 312-2976. We have a lot of weekly participation, but this is a big game. This is a really big game between the number 1 ranked football team in the state for 8-man, Valley, against the number 3 team in the state, which is Kamei. So Valley's going into that game with a 9-0 record. Kamei is going into that game with an 8-1 record. So you tell me who's going to win and closest to the final score, and you might be the lucky winner of a Grand Slam breakfast from Denny's at 611 Overland in Burley. But get those in today by no later than noon tomorrow, okay? Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. Let's see what else have I got cooking here. I wanted to remind you, too, about Lennox Home Comfort Systems. All I got to do is just find the paper. There we go. Ramsey Heating and Electric offering rebates on qualified Lennox Home Comfort Systems, whether it's a gas furnace, air conditioner, or a heat pump. They have been a Lennox independent dealer for over 50 years. They know the climate, they know the equipment, and they've done the shopping for you. Contact them at 678-0459. Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox. saving you money. Every Thursday, we are very, very blessed on this show to have a segment called Cassia County School Days. And, of course, we have two wonderful sponsors of Cassia County School Days. First of all, A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley. They have hundreds and hundreds, they say, of new toys, games, puzzles, and books that will entertain and educate your children. And if you're needing a baby present, they've got all the cute 5-piece Buster Brown baby presents for $22, and you can have a gift wrap free at A Child's World, 1308 Overland in Burley. And if you're considering some surgery, maybe you'd better check with the Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland Avenue in Burley. Number to call, 677-8888. Outstanding center to receive all your outpatient surgery procedures and save you money. Call them and talk to them about it today. 677-8888. Ambulatory Surgery Center. Let's go to the phone line right now. And with us for Cassia County School Days is a gentleman by the name of Mark Cook. Good morning, Mark. How are you?
Good, thank you.
This is the first time you've ever been on this program, isn't it?
It is.
Okay, well, tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do at Burley High School? What do you teach?
I teach Japanese, and I'm the yearbook advisor.
Japanese?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Okay, now, I really said that with a note of inquiry because I understand from Debbie Critchfield that Japanese is really popular for a language course at the high school. Why?
The kids have a variety of reasons. Some just want something new. Some are into the popular culture. Some are interested in travel, job prospects, military possibilities. Lots of reasons.
Okay, but now when you say pop culture, what are you talking about, pop culture? Why the Japanese and their culture? Why is it so popular?
More and more of the kids are getting into the manga and anime, which is some of the visual arts they have, and the J-pop, which is their popular music, has become really popular in the last few years.
What in the world? Now, come on, I'm just an old cowboy. What does manga mean?
Manga, a lot of times people, say comics, but anybody who's really into it will get mad if you call it that. It's like graphic novels, where things are drawn up, but they have them in all categories. Here, comics usually are just for kids or for real specialists, hobbyists. But in Japan, you'll have them for businessmen, housewives, kids, athletics. They just have a wide range of topics, and so it can appeal to all sorts of people.
All right. Now, Mark, have you been to Japan?
A number of times, yes.
All right. Give me a little background. I have never been to that country. I've been to many foreign countries. I have not been to Japan. Give us a little background on the people, the culture, and why it's so intriguing.
They're wonderful. And it's so different from what we normally encounter here in the United States. Different religious background, foundation. The countryside itself is really beautiful. The people are incredibly generous, especially the more of their own customs that you know. They just respond so warmly to people. You'll get me going. I just love Japan.
Well, that's what you're supposed to do when you're on a radio program, is get going. So tell me more.
Well, I've been to a number of places. I love the ancient culture in particular, but I've been clear down to some of the southern tropical islands. Been to Nagasaki, Kagoshima, where they have a live volcano just out in the bay.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen the cherry trees blossom. Kyoto is probably my favorite city. Kamakura is where they have the large outdoor Buddhist statue. In Nara, there are deer that are just part of downtown, and you can actually feed them as you go to some of the temples around there because they're considered sacred.
Well, let me ask you this question. What about when you go over there as an Idahoan, and is it a kind of a culture shock the first time for the difference in food, the difference in philosophy, the difference in politics, the difference in possibly the way they eat, sleep, and drink? I mean, tell us a little bit about that.
Well, For me, it wasn't that much of a culture shock because I learned to admire so many of the Japanese Americans that were in my community, and that really got me started with an interest in the culture. But my parents brought me up, I think, quite well, that we had a lot of different cultures in the house, lots of things we studied and learned about that we were exposed to. So being over there and sleeping on the floor in stones was no problem. It was like, in a way, sleeping in sleeping bags from all of our trips in the mountains. I'd learned to use chopsticks years before, so that wasn't an issue. Just lots of interesting foods. I haven't found one that I didn't like yet.
Let me ask you this.
I haven't been offered raw horse yet.
Let's not go there, Mark. Thanks a lot. Hey, let me ask you this. Of the area, the Asian countries, what makes Japan and the Japanese people stand out over others like the Chinese, etc.? What makes them stand out in your mind?
Well, it goes to their geographic history. Since they're an island nation, they've been able to pick and choose a lot of what's come into their country and then develop it the way they wanted to. So they could take an idea from China, like the written language, the kanji, and then adapt it to their language and create something really beautiful and unique to their linguistic needs.
I see.
They could take things from from Korea. The last century or so, there's been a lot of borrowing from the United States, but then they still make it unique to themselves. A lot of people don't realize it, but sushi actually didn't start in Japan. It actually came from Southeast Asia.
I did not know that.
But with the things they did to it, it now is uniquely Japanese.
I see. Now, one thing that I have heard, and I want you to give us a little elaboration on this point. I have heard that the respect for Japanese senior citizens is so much more so there than at other points of the world. Is that true?
I would agree wholeheartedly with that. Preferential treatment is given to senior citizens. It's built into the language itself with the terms that you use. It's just phenomenal with the respect that they have for the elderly.
Now, when we talk about it in kind of bland terms as far as respect for the elderly, but what were your observances? I mean, here I am absolutely disgusted as to the way children treat their parents, children treat their grandparents with just kind of a brush-off type attitude. How are they trained and taught over there differently?
Well, one thing that just starts off immediately when they're young is a lot of times the children are carried by their parents in a kind of backsling for many. And so when mom, say, meets someone, she bows. The kid is immediately learning how to bow, even though they can't even walk yet.
Oh, okay.
And then as they get a little older, say if they forget, mom or dad are right there, and they will physically show them how to bow. They'll grab them by the head or shoulders and have them bow down.
Is the
really early on? Of course, like anywhere, you have kids that rebel and want to go their own way, but it just really gets in there, into their system. And in fact, it's so strong that even the elderly still have that when they show respect to each other. And I've seen cases where, say, an older student meets his teacher, and they will try to out-bow each other, showing respect to each other. And it really is quite interesting because you try to bow longer than the other person, to bow a little lower than the other person, and they just try to outdo each other sometimes, and it becomes kind of comical. Until you realize the relationship that's going on between the two men or women.
Mark, did you try, or have you tried, to implement some of the, for lack of better terminology, the politeness of what they do and how they treat people? Have you tried to implement that into your classroom?
Oh, absolutely. I just did it this morning. There's a way that I can speak to the students and a way that they're supposed to speak to me. And when one of them doesn't, say, use the full expression, I remind them. I try to use the full expression, especially the first term, so that they just parrot back to me the same exact thing. And then over the course of the year, I pull back, so I'm speaking more as just a teacher would speak, and they're supposed to remember that honorific language.
Wouldn't it be wonderful, Mark, if we here in our society and our culture could implement more of a politeness like it used to be? It sounds to me like you're on the right track.
I do really appreciate the civility in Japanese culture. You know, that doesn't mean that they always agree with each other. And they have different ways of showing it. But, yes, I think it could be very useful if everybody, frankly, not just kids, because I even see it with people when I go to a store, if we just treated each other a lot better.
Yeah. Now, real quick question and answer, because I'm almost out of time, but now teaching the language, is it a very difficult language to learn?
Yes and no. All languages are difficult. The first few weeks I spend part of the time just myth-busting, if you will, to get the kids to realize that in some ways Japanese is easier than English because it doesn't have as many exceptions in the spoken language. But then when we get to learning a new writing system, of course that's going to be a lot more difficult because it's so completely new to them.
Mm-hmm. Well, I compliment you. You kind of took us on a tour guide this morning of Japan, the food, the culture, the language, and I think your students are blessed with somebody that really cares. Mark Cook at Burley High School, thank you for being on the program this morning, and come back. Don't make yourself a stranger.
Okay. And I just want to add, too, that I've got some wonderful students.
Well, that is a good addition for any teacher to say. Thank you very much for being on the program.
Thank you, sir.
You betcha. Have a good day. That was really interesting. Mark Cook, a teacher at Burley High School, and he's teaching Japanese. So we say thank you very much to him for being on the program, and we also say again thank you to our wonderful sponsors of Cassia County School Days, A Child's World at 1308 Oberlin in Burley, and the Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland in Burley. Number to call, 677-8888. Don't forget that. We had a call, and people are wondering when we're going to have the next lunch bunch at Denny's. I got to get this in here real quick. There is a big change for the month of November only, and lunch bunchers, share this with each other. Call your neighbors and friends. We're going to have lunch bunch on Tuesday, November 24th. Tuesday, November 24th. Normally we meet on Thursdays. We're not going to this month. We're going to have it on Tuesday, November 24th at 11:30 at Denny's. There you have been informed. Right now, it's time to have our business salute, and we always look forward to every week at this time talking to some local business people and finding out just basically what makes their business tick and how come they're doing so much better than their competition and the way they serve people, etc. And on the phone line with us right now, we're going to have Dan Witten with Snake River Auto Body and Paint. Dan, are you there this morning?
I am. How are you, Zeb?
I am fantastic. What's going on over at Snake River Auto Body and Paint in Twin Falls?
Oh, gosh, just enjoying the cooler weather.
Well, now let me ask you a couple of questions, Dan, regarding if somebody has never had an accident and all of a sudden somebody just kind of backs into them or a parking meter jumps right out and bites the front end of their car, what do they do? I mean, how did they become acquainted with the best, and that's Snake River Auto Body and Paint?
You know what? That's easy, Zeb. They just got to come down 404 4th Avenue West, look for Snake River Auto Body. We've got 5 estimators in the office, and any one of us can help them out with their insurance needs, and we can get their vehicle scheduled, everything in to get it repaired.
All right, now, and Wheels, turn him up over at the station. He's way too low, please. Dan, do they have to, go through their insurance company first before they can talk to you, or can they make their insurance company aware that they're going to go see you? What's the protocol there?
You know what? It just kind of depends on what they're wanting to do. They're more than welcome to come in. Our estimates are free.
If they contact their insurance company, want us to have to do the work, just let them know ahead of time, hey, we're going to have it taken over to Snake River, and they're going to take care of us. We work with all the insurance companies, so we can take photos and send off estimates and usually get them taken care of right away.
Dan, when, like in my case, I went in there with my pickup, and I know that you came out, you were very conscientious, you took pictures, you took notes and everything. Wow. I mean, every accident, I would assume, is a little bit different, is it not?
Oh, that's for sure. Everything is different. You know, not one accident's going to be the same. So every insurance company does things a little bit different, but you know, we've worked with enough of them. We can certainly help them get everything in and get it taken care of.
You know, you and I talked the last time about accidents and vehicles of today as compared to maybe vehicles of 20 years ago. What, in your opinion, is the best thing that's happened for the American consumer with vehicles today versus the last couple of decades?
You know, honestly, it's going to be the safety issue. With the airbags, all the computer timing, you know, you look at a car today after it's been in an accident, you think that wasn't too bad, but boy, that fender sure is pushed back. And, you know, fenders are designed and cars are designed to have crumple zones so that you don't get hurt on the inside when you get an impact from the outside. So it may look worse than it was, but it's doing exactly what it needs to do. I think that's probably the best thing that's happened in the last 20 years to cars and their design. So
okay, now you did an outstanding job, and your personality was such that you came out, you were very friendly, you knew that I was a little bit miffed because I had a ding in my truck that was put in by some driver that didn't really care. What about learning your profession? I would imagine that, have you got to go to school for this to learn how to estimate damages, or what do you do?
You know, for me, I started out over 20 years ago in the industry itself as a prepper, getting vehicles ready to paint, and then I moved my way up through school. I've actually worked with a couple of different insurance companies. I've been in a few different shops, and I just worked my way out to writing estimates because I've been around cars for so many years. So
one of the questions my wife brought up to me the other day, and I hadn't thought about it until she mentioned it, but I mean, today there seems to be thousands of different paint colors for vehicles as compared to, again, like 2 decades or more ago. Is that hard to match up the paints?
You know what? The yes and no. It is a little bit more to be able to match paint to get everything looking the same way it was. But also with technology, we have a camera here that we can take a picture of the paint itself, and it'll break down what different toners they've put in the paint, what kind of pearls are in it, what kind of metallics are in it. Give us a print off of something that we can actually mix on a bank that we have here at our shop.
Now, one thing I want you to mention... Go ahead, Dan. No, go ahead, please.
Oh, I was just going to say, you know, some cars will have come in, and each car has a paint code itself. We can look up the paint code, and on that paint code, you're going to have sometimes 10, I've seen up to 30 different variants for the same color of paint, because you may have it painted at a different the manufacturing place where they put them together. It may have been Denver, it may have been Detroit, it could have been Japan, depending on the car. Each one of those may be using the same color but a different shade.
Oh, my.
So there's quite a bit into figuring out what we need to get, but we have the technology and the talent here to do it.
You know, one other thing, too, if the car is going to be the car or the pickup or whatever is going to be in the shop for a couple of days, I also understand that you have loaner vehicles to make sure people can get to work and get their job done.
That we do. We have loaner cars available. If you don't have rental coverage through your insurance, we can make sure that you still have a way to get back and forth to work.
Well, tell everybody where you're located.
If you can't bring it into the shop to get an estimate, we do come straight to your home and can write them out in the field as well.
All right. Dan Whitman with Snake River Auto Body and Paint at 404 4th Avenue West in Twin Falls. Number to call 734-5790. This is a good old boy, and they did a wonderful job for me at Snake River Auto Body and Paint. Dan, thanks for being on the program this morning.
Hey, thank you, Zeb. Have a great day.
All right, sir. Thank you much. Good guy right there, and very, very conscientious. And all the crew there was so nice to us when we went in there and had to have my pickup worked on. And I highly recommend you give them a call. Snake River Auto Body and Paint in Twin Falls. What have I got to do real quick? Nothing. I'm going to send it over to Wheels at the bottom of the hour, and we'll be back in about 3 minutes. Don't go away.
And now back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Thank you very much, and welcome to the last 30 minutes of our program. We're on the home stretch for this week, and with us on the telephone right now, and I've been looking forward to this interview all morning long, we have a gentleman that's a news analyst for the Media Research Center, and I do a lot of work with various personalities back there at the Media Research Center. We have Curtis Haug. Curtis, good morning, sir. How are you?
Good to be with you. How are you?
Well, I am really good, and I got to tell you right up front, Curtis, that I absolutely did cartwheels and handstands when I heard that Houston had the backbone and the spine to tell the gay, lesbian, and transgenders, no, you're not going to get special rights, and they voted it down on Tuesday. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, absolutely. The liberal media kind of threw a complete fit over what had happened in Houston as well. The New York Times was very upset that this equal rights ordinance went down, and that it was a costly, ugly war of words between both sides, supposedly really just an opportunity to demonize those that were against this transgendered bathroom ordinance. It was just yet another example of the voters kind of rejecting the liberal media notion that, this is something that everyone will go along with. All the polls are going to say that this will be approved with ease, and that's not what happened.
Okay, now let's break this down a little bit. You wrote a very interesting piece that I have right here in front of me on MRC Newsbusters. But, Curtis, you mentioned the terminology equal rights ordinance. There's nothing equal about this. This is the sick, perverted, and abnormal asking for more rights. It's the transgenders disavowing their sex and their gender and assuming something else and wanting to use facilities that would embarrass and possibly hurt people. There's nothing equal about this at all.
No, absolutely not. The people that tried to pass this had made it seem very innocuous. The Houston Equal Rights Ordinance are heroes. So, the openly lesbian mayor had tried to kind of just point out that, multiple states have passed these non-discrimination laws, and other cities have, when that's not true at all. This is completely different. And it shows that when it didn't pass, they came out and just kind of tried to delegitimize and demean those that the majority of voters that had come out against it. The final margin was 61 to 39%, so it wasn't even close. And yet you have the mayor come out and say that this is a calculated campaign of lies designed to demonize a little understood minority. Well, it seems as though that when the results came in, that it was those in the LGBT community that decided that they were the ones who were going to demonize this very well understood majority of voters, so to speak.
Let me ask you this question, and again on this program, I'm pretty doggone blunt, and I'm proud of it. I look at this as just another blatant attempt in Houston, and it's going on in other places, and there's other threats, including right here in southern Idaho with the Twin Falls School District. I look at this as another blatant attempt to demean and denigrate Christianity. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. I mean, this is what was interesting looking at the media coverage of what happened in Houston this past week is almost a complete carbon copy of what the media did earlier this year in Indiana when there was the debate over the religious freedom law and what happened with the family-owned pizza parlor. They float these boycotts and fears about how, conferences won't be able to be held in their city because people won't want to come there because of, supposedly not being welcome to everyone. And last night, the CBS Evening News did just that. They trotted out this fear that groups are already calling for a boycott of Houston businesses if the measure is not overturned. And it could be significant because Houston is in the running to host the 2017 Super Bowl. So they're going as far as to say that, we may cancel the Super Bowl because, the voters did not vote the way that the left wanted them to. And they after the Super Bowl, they said that they are going to fight the will of the people.
Yeah, but
in the courts, which, that's, yeah.
Yeah, well, let me ask you this, though, Curtis. This measure and this threat of overturning the way the people voted, we've seen this in the past from the same group of sick, abnormal people when they overturned Proposition 8 in California. So we should be ready for this in the courts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say that was perhaps the biggest example. Voters overwhelmingly, whether it was across all religious groups, came out in droves to vote against this, including a lot of key, often thought of as Democratic constituencies in a lot of black churches, came out in droves to vote against it, and yet in the end, the will of the people and the voters did not matter at all, as they took the matters to court and they were able to get favorable judges. We all know with the left circuit there, the Ninth Circuit, and then eventually with the Supreme Court, with the 4 justices plus Anthony Kennedy. It's a very for them it's been successful, unfortunately, for our side, but it looks like this is what they will be using to get the outcome that they want in Houston, even though a very stereotypical liberal city that consistently votes for Democrat showed that here's an issue where the people have had enough.
Yeah. And the sinister aspects of this, and Curtis, you did this in your article, you did very well writing this, is that these people, these sick, perverted people, can actually use the bathroom bill, if you will, to help promote their sick and very sex-deviant ways. A man could dress up as a woman and attack women in the restrooms or the locker rooms. This thing opens up a Pandora's box of problems that decency and morality would go right down the drain.
Oh, absolutely. As I said in my piece there, the New York Times tried to predictably, they took supporters of the ordinance and did everything they could to make them seem reasonable and make opponents that were against this, such as those on the right and the points you just made, then try to make, took the page out of the Saul Alinsky playbook and make them delegitimize them, make them seem out of touch, make them, just seem completely, kooky that how could anyone support our side when really it is true. I mean, it was such a simple message that, the Christian community and others had, and those against it had in Houston, that no men in women's bathrooms. It was pretty simple. And I think that's why, it was so soundly rejected, because people clearly got the message that this was what this was about. You say that the devil's in the details, and, what people, actually understood what this is through the very flowery language about treating everyone equal and wanting to create a safe community. Well, people saw right past that.
Curtis, a thought here, and I'm just about ready to wrap this up this morning, but what do you think the left and the ACLU and the gays, lesbians, and transgenders, what are they going to do? What are they laying in the weeds right now, planning and plotting? What do you think their next move will be against not only Houston, but other major cities?
Well, I think initially it's going to be more of the same in terms of their allies in the media. What they're going to be doing is they're going to continue doing what they did this year in Houston, and in Indiana. They're going to try, and when these ballot measures come up, that's not anti-discrimination, so to speak, is going to be the biggest thing that local municipalities and states are going to try and get passed. And if they're placed on the ballot, it's shown here, even in a very strong blue city, they soundly rejected them. But yet again, the left, says that it wasn't cries foul, says it wasn't fair, so to speak, and they're going to go to the courts, and the media will give them favorable coverage. They'll say that about opponents that we denied any, that they had any bias against gay people, and they're wrong. This thing was so vague. It's very specific. Well, that's simply not the case. And conservatives, the only thing we can do as conservatives is be well-versed and informed and be able to call it out when we see it.
Let me ask you one final thought here, Curtis. As a Christian, and I'm proud to be one, all you have to do is read the Bible, and it's very explicit in there as to what's happening and what will happen. But what are your thoughts about how we as Christians can fight back on these issues without having the usual liberal tones of, oh, you're a hate monger and you're a bigot? How can we overcome these situations?
Yeah, I think we should, stick to the facts, stick to our principles. I was going to say, I don't think we should apologize at all. I think that's the last thing that those in the media would love, that they would run with, to be able to run these pieces saying that we're atoning and that we're reconciling with, with the LGBT community. But I think we should, hold fast on our values, believe in what we know is true, and at the same time do our best to inform, those that are skeptical or aren't as convinced through the media and through shows like yours, where the media, where in local news, where people go to get their information, when they're telling them lies about this and how it runs completely counter to our nation and our faith and our values.
Yeah, absolutely. Curtis, you got to promise to come back in the future, and we may need you to come back and give us an update. Curtis Houck with the Media Research Center, thank you so much for being on the program. God's blessings to you.
God bless you. Thank you so much, sir. It was great to be with you, and hope to be back to you again soon.
I'll look forward to it. Thank you. Curtis Houck with the Media Research Center, and I have a lot of their people on my program during the course of the month, and he's a news analyst with MRC. Thank you very much. We got to get the weather on here, and then I'll take some more phone calls. I would love you to give me a call, and we'll talk about anything that we've discussed so far on the program this morning, so just give me a jingle or any other subject that comes to mind. Right now, let's get the weather on, and it's brought to you by Scarrows Meats. I had a guy call yesterday and say, hey, what's the name of that place over in Jerome? And I said, Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. And they are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. The number to call, 324-7657. Don't you worry about when you bring your animal in for processing, you're going to get the same meat back. They guarantee that. And you can rest assured that you're getting absolutely the best with Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Again, they're changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Here's Gina with the weather.
Here's your weather forecast as we move one day closer to the weekend. Looks like it's going to be cloudy for today. Winds out of the southwest right around 14 miles an hour. Expect a high of 41, tonight low of 29. Tomorrow and for Saturday, pretty much the same. Partly to mostly sunny skies, high of 44 for Friday, high of 50 for Saturday, and then partly cloudy and 48 for Sunday. Sunset tonight is going to be at 5:19. That's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Range.
Gina, thank you very much, and brought to you this hour by Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Number to call, 324-7657. Okay, it's your turn. Somebody give me a jingle right now at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a jingle on the landline, and we'll talk about anything you want to talk about for the remainder of this morning's program. If you would, please, I'd look forward to it. Well, good morning, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, Seth.
Yes, sir.
I can't hardly hear you. Yeah, I wanted to publicly thank you for plugging our spaghetti feed that's coming up this Saturday for these young veterans that, they come home, they have no job, most of them have families, and we really need to help them out. You and I have talked about this before.
Mm-hmm.
We ask people to do their part for their country, and I'd like to invite everybody out there. In fact, if you and your lovely wife show up, I'd like to personally buy your dinner and your dessert and your drinks, whatever you have. It'll be soft drinks and punch.
Well, I'll tell you something, Mike. Let me just explain that I would never go to a function like this without paying my way. The veterans have done so much for me and paving the way for my freedom and keeping me free that you don't have to worry about paying my way. I'll pay my own, because I absolutely salute you and what the veterans have done for us, and I certainly hope you get a lot of people there this weekend.
Well, I hope so too. We work pretty hard at this stuff. There was one young veteran that we helped out recently who had just come home from multiple deployments in Iraq and Afghanistan. He had a wife and 2 little children. He had no job, and Obama's kicking thousands of these kids out of the military constantly. And they were living in their car up by Minidoka Dam.
Oh, my.
We got them in an apartment. We got them food, gas money. We got the utilities turned on, everything, until he could find a job and get on his feet. And we've done this all the way from Mountain Home, clear up to Salmon, to Idaho Falls. These kids coming home, they have nothing for their children for Christmas, and we make sure that their kids get everything on their wish lists and that they have plenty of money to pay their bills for the holidays and food and things, and well, that's what we do.
Okay, now, Mike,
our mission statement is veterans helping veterans.
Let me interrupt you right there, and I want you to call me if you have a family that we're getting closer to Christmas every day, and you have a family or a series of families where they have little kids. You call me here at this radio program, and I want to help. Okay, you be sure and let me know.
Well, I appreciate that. We started out with this particular program. We have many programs throughout the year to raise money for these kids, but we started out with this particular program 4 years ago for a young woman who came home from a deployment and found that her husband had abandoned her, and she had 2 little children.
Oh, no.
Here, a local young gal, and no job, no money, no anything. So we got everything that those kids wanted on their wish list, and everything she wanted and needed, and made sure they had a great Christmas dinner. And we even bought them a Christmas tree, and plus some cash to help them out. And that was 4 years ago. And this was through volunteers at the National Guard in Twin Falls helped us.
Mm-hmm.
This last year, it turned into a monster. This last year, we had one entire wing of the National Guard Armory filled with wrapped presents.
Oh, that's great.
And we helped over 200 families.
Oh, my.
From Mountain Home clear to Idaho Falls.
All right, now, Mike, I'm on a shortage for time, so I'm going to have to cut you off here in a second, but I want you to tell everybody real quick about the 4th annual dinner and raffle, Veterans Helping Veterans, this weekend. Tell everybody real fast where it's at and what time it starts.
Okay. I believe you have the flyer that I gave you right there.
I do.
But it's in Twin Falls. It's at that Christian Center on Falls Drive.
Yeah, it's at. Well, hold on a second. Let me give the exact address, Mike. It's at River Christian Fellowship Church in Twin Falls on Falls Avenue at 4002 North, 3300 East on Falls. Go ahead.
Right, and the dinner begins at 5, and it's excuse me, and we have a raffle at 7, and area merchants have given very generously. We have everything from paintings clear to firearms that are going to be raffled off.
Okay, all right.
So anyone that would like to help us, please show up. That's this Saturday at 5 o'clock.
All right, Mike, I appreciate it. 4th Annual Dinner and Raffle, Veterans Helping Veterans. And, Mike, thank you much. God bless you, man. Good to hear from you.
God bless you, too. Thank you.
All right, sir. And that's going to be at the River Christian Fellowship Church on Falls Avenue in Twin Falls. Don't forget that. Got to pay some bills here real quick. And, of course, we want to say thank you to our Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Yeah. You saw what happened beginning of the week with the snow and the slush and everything on the road. People said, can't take a chance. Better get in and get my studded tires on. Better get my traction tires. Better get ready with the snow chains. I'm telling you, you better be prepared, and you will be prepared if you stop in to any one of the 7 Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Winter wheels, chains, got them all. Batteries, got them all. Don't forget, you can go in and have your battery checked, and you'll find out if that battery's going to turn that motor over in the cold or not. And then they've got every battery for every kind of a vehicle right there. And don't forget, convenient credit for tires and services, always at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. You know, Lane over in Rupert, good old boy. Dave over on Blue Lakes and Twin, good old boy, as are Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, John on Pole Line in Twin Falls, and good old boy Randy on Overland in Burley. Absolutely the best. The best. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Oh my, don't forget to get your pick in for, this is going to be a great game to follow on Friday night at 8:15 up at Holt Arena at Idaho State University. As I said, it's the game of the week featured by Denny's Restaurant, and you pick the winner and closest to the final score, and you may win a Grand Slam breakfast. So it's the game between Valley, and as I said, they're undefeated. Boy, they've got a team over there. And they're ranked number 1 in the state, by the way. And they're going up against the 3rd-ranked team in the state, and that's Kamei, overall record 8-1. So that is going to be a barn burner, as they say. And all you have to do is send your prediction on the winning team and the closest to the final score to me. ZebAtTheRanch at hotmail.com. ZebAtTheRanch @hotmail.com. And then also you can call it into my cell phone at 312-2976. So get your entries in now, before noon tomorrow, okay? Next week on the program, Monday, boy, have we got a full plate on Monday. First hour, of course, 8:06 to 9 o'clock, open forum. 9:06, one of my favorite people on the program, Doug Johnson, author back in Colorado. At 9:30, Alliance Defending Freedom, and then, of course, our Scows Answer Man. And then we're going to have a little visit over to the Golden Heritage. We're going to be talking about that great big November 19th, second annual Pilgrim Pride Dinner. It is really shaping up to be a dandy. And then, of course, we're going to have another visit with our Minidoka Memorial Hospital. And then with the Blue Ribbon Coalition, we're going to have Martin Hackworth on the air. Got a full day on Monday. God bless you and your family. Leave it right here at KBAR 1230 AM. And, of course, I'm streaming live on the internet, zebbell.com. Until Monday at 8:06, the way things were are the way things ought to be. God bless you. We'll see you next week.